Hello everyone, it's Adam here. Putting my insurance card in this really handy dandy pocket here. It's great for that. Doesn't lock, but makes things really easy to get to if you're pulled over. So this here is the 2017 R1200 GS Adventure Triple Black with premium, touring, chrome exhaust, Shift Assist Pro, and Ride Modes Pro. This is the Nav 6 GPS. So it comes in a nice cool case here. Let's actually move over and I'll show you guys how to install it on the bike. Actually first, let's get the center stand up. Really easy to do on this bike. Put the center stand up. Put in here, put your foot down like this. And right up we go. Alright, so here's the key. This has a keyless ride, so you don't have to actually take the key out of your pocket anymore. If you need to, though, there is a key slot underneath the front of the bike down here. Like that. Now, you do need the key to remove the GPS. This is the cover that comes on the bike standard. So you have to remove this here, turn. Then you're going to pull out from the back here. Then you're going to push on this guy here, and that releases the cover like that. Alright, so now we have our Nav 6. It's a little dirty. Make sure you plug it in, by the way, whenever you do take delivery of the bike, the Nav 6, and register it, because mine had a map version that was 2 months or 2 quarters old, so 2 releases old. It's always good to have the freshest maps, and this does come in lifetime maps as long as you register it, so do not take that for granted. So we're going to push it down. So this lock is right here. Push it down right there. That locks into place. Push this back in, all the way in, turn the key, and you're done. This will not come out. You're free to leave this in here. It could be pulled out. It is plastic. It could be pulled out by a crowbar, but you know they need to try pretty hard to get it out of there. While we're in this spot, we're going to do a couple of tour here of the overall controls of the bike. So the key's in my pocket right now. As long as you're within a meter of the bike, you can turn it on. We're not going to turn it fully on today. We're just going to turn on the ignition by pushing this button here. If you want to lock it, by the way, you can hold this all the way to the left. Hold this down for a few seconds. You'll hear it. That means it's now locked. Now to unlock, click it once. Unlocks. And then to turn the ignition on, you're going to click this button. Turns the ignition on. And when you turn the ignition on, you'll hear a couple of pumps kick in here. I assume it's a coolant pump starting up, just to do a little self-check. So 2 pumps, right underneath the bike too. So this comes in, you've got, as usual, it is a BMW, so you're gonna have your traction control and ABS lights flashing until you get going, because they have to perform a self-check before they turn off. All right, this is a better angle probably. You know, one of my biggest pet peeves about car navigation systems is having to accept whenever you turn on the car that, you know, navigation while driving is unsafe. This only comes up one time, only after you sync it, so you don't need to agree every time you start the bike up, luckily, because it goes into safe mode. We're going to restart. Yeah, so now you can see everything here. Bike is, ignition's on, it's in neutral, so the computer's really nice. You've got your speedo, your tach. In the 2018, it's optional to get rid of this. I like the physical gauges. Fuel, neutral, we're in dynamic mode. Time, and then you've got trip and info are down here. So right now I've got it set to range and engine temp. If I click this button here for trip, I can go through in their setup, odometer, my trip 1, trip 2, and then range. And for info, we've got engine temp 62, my average mile per gallon of 40, average speed 36.1, my front and rear tire pressure, which only shows up after you've been moving because it requires some spinning of the tires, oil, date, and then back to the external temp. So this is ambient temperature outside of the bike. Over here we've got some modes. The modes will change. You'll see dynamic, checklist. We got dynamic, enduro, rain, and road. There's a thing under the seat, which I'll show you in a few minutes. It changes it to Enduro Pro. Enduro Pro is basically Enduro mode with ABS and traction control almost off. So really it's a setup that's only for people that are seasoned off-road riders that are comfortable with that. I would keep it unplugged until I've had this bike for a few years and have a lot of off-road training. Over here we've got ABS fully on and off. This button here changes the ESA damping response level. So I've got it set to normal with 1 passenger. You can do hard, soft. You can change it to 2 passengers with luggage, or 1 passenger with luggage. Those of you with old motorcycles know that the turn signals were on both sides. Now they're just on one side. You've got right, push to cancel, left, push to cancel, and then up here is your emergency flashers, like that. Horn is down here. This button here is going to turn on or off your fog lights. And then behind here is you pull for a flash of high beam, you push to lock out the high beams. When you lock out the high beams, you'll see this blue light here come on. And then finally up here on the left, you've got this to turn on cruise control. You can push here to set. Push it once to go up 2 miles, push it back, pull it back to go down 2 miles, and then to cancel, just click it to the left again. Over here, you've got your ignition start, your emergency stop, and then here you push once to turn on the heated grips all the way max, twice is lower, and then third time fully off. And then this is your wonder wheel. So when you're in map view, you can turn this forward to zoom in, turn this back to zoom out. You click in, you can change to heading. You've got some things here you can do. You can say go home, which is a nice little thing, and you hold it to check it. If you have Bluetooth connected, you can speak where you want to go, and then you can turn the display off quite easily at night, and then click over again to see data about your motorcycle. Let's zoom in on that actually, because that's kind of one of the values of nav 6 that I like a lot. So in here, you're not going to get current consumption, front tire, rear tire, because we're not moving yet, but you get heading, max speed, your range, battery voltage, your fuel economy on both trips, average speed, ambient temp, your trip meter 1 and 2, and then you've got engine temp and odometer. Really, really nice. You can click through here, and then you can reset your trip meter, reset your fuel economy, and reset average speed. So you could reset those if you'd like to. Then we can go back. So it's really, really nice to actually have this. And if you don't want to have to focus on if you're like me, always trying to get your range, your fuel economy to go up. It's nice to keep this window going, and you can then reset at the beginning of your trip and try to optimize your fuel economy, which is really nice. But it allows you to basically on the bottom screen have other things displayed and still see all the information up here, which is really, really cool. And then we'll go back to the main screen here. There's lots of options within navigation, but for the most part, it's just like any other sat nav. The only addition is going to be for nav 6 is going to be the media player, which is okay. If you have your phone mounted right here, you're really not going to care too much about it. And then you've got your tracks, which shows where you've been, and then you can export these with Garmin Basecamp software and send it to friends, which is nice. There's also a follow me feature, so you can invite someone to follow your route, assuming you have a phone connected that has data. This has live traffic, it has weather, it has speed cams, and then you can also view actual cameras around the US or that are upcoming on the trip to see how the traffic looks visually. It's a lot of stuff though while you're on the bike, so for the most part, just keeping this all, if you want to go home, then you click that. Pretty nice though. It looks nice. It's got almost an edge-to-edge screen aside from the bezel up here, but it looks nice. Hard to keep clean if you're touching it with your gloves. You're going to eventually scratch it a little bit, but it works with gloves and just with your fingers as well. And you can easily go through here, click this button twice, 3 times, go down to display off, hold, and it's off, but still running in the background, and you can still get your commands through your earpiece. It's okay to remove it if you want to, but you certainly don't have to. The Liquid Cool GS also now comes with a power socket. It's waterproof. Flip this down like this. But if you lift it up, you can buy one of these cool DINs that have USB in them. I bought this from I think Burns Moto. Lift this up, put it right in, and you can leave it in there permanently, and then just pull this off if you want to use the USB ports, which is really a nice thing. Right above it is our control for the windscreen. Let's zoom out so you can see that a little better. So now this thing here, we're going to twist this. This is all the way the lowest setting to the right, highest setting to the left. You'll see this guy move all the way out. This is actually kind of nice. It pushes the wind back. If you keep going, it flattens out a little bit more. So it's higher but flatter. So you can choose kind of what level works for you. Now let's look at the bike from the left side of the bike here. You've got your horizontally opposed cylinders. You've got the clutch is now front mounted behind the alternator, whereas before it used to be a massive job to do, so you've got that advantage. It's also an oil or wet clutch as opposed to a dry clutch. The clutch does use the engine oil, so when you do change the engine oil, you are changing the oil for the clutch as well, which is a great way to make the things last longer. It's pretty much standard on every other motorcycle, but to BMW a little bit of time to get around to doing that. Now you've got your side stands on both of these. Your pegs will fall in when you drop the bike, so it's a nice way to not break those off. We've got our passenger foot pegs here, or pillion pegs. From here we've got the ability to take the seat off. So there we go. And then under the rear seat you've got some tools here, which are nice. It used to be coming in a bag. To change the front seat height, let's actually zoom in so you guys can see a little better. To change the front seat height, you've got two settings. Right now I'm on the low setting for both of these. To go high on the front, push the button here. This comes out. You flip it over like that. Just to go to high on the back, same thing applies. You've got this guy here, you push here, flip that back. That's the highest setting. Down here is the ECU and control module from Bosch for ABS, traction control, all kinds of things are center mounted in the vehicle. I assume the reason why is because there's all kinds of gyroscopes and settings in here that you're going to need access to. In the rear here, it looks like we have our fuses and various things for valve and not really going to use your serviceable unless you're going to have LED headlights. That's pretty much it for down here from this perspective. Let's go and put the seats back on. Oh yeah, so while we're at it, right here is the plug you need for Enduro Pro. Here is the thing you need to enable Enduro Pro. Conveniently fits inside the seat, so fully optional to enable that feature. Boom, just like that. The bike, you've got a beak here. This is matte black, and you've got glossy black that goes all the way back. Just be careful with this because it's going to be a pain in the ass to keep it scratch free. Right now, this is our running light, which is the strip around here for the LED package. And you've got your normal low beam running. High beam is down here, and it runs only when engaged. On the sides, you've got your forward mounted auxiliary lights. They are fog lights. They're not spotlights. They make a light pattern that shows any animals that are on the side of the road. Obviously, it's a good idea to add more lights if you're going to do the off-roading. These are great for visibility during the day and at night. We've got our front peak here, down below with the tire. It extends all the way to the rear to keep debris from coming up into the engine. And then on the front here, it's hard to see where you are, but you've got two radiators on the left and right, one for each cylinder that will cool down the coolant whenever you're moving. If you're sitting still, you will hear fans come on and cooling air from the front all the way out the back, and you can actually feel the hot air coming through. The fans basically allow the bike to stay nice and cool whenever you're sitting in traffic, but they don't run unless they're needed. In the front, we've got our two turn signal stocks. By default, these are not LEDs, they're normal halogen bulbs. It's a good idea to go to dynamicmotorrad.com and grab some LEDs for the front and the rear. It costs about $130. You can get a discount if you're a member of BMW MOA. Let's turn those on. Very, very dim compared to the rest of the LEDs on the bike, so not a bad upgrade if you can afford it. All right, we're on the right side of the bike now. Let's talk about this cover here. So in the oil-cooled generations, the crash bars came here, and then you relied on a cylinder head guard or cover to stop any dents. In the new model, BMW decided to wrap these around. You've got a plastic barrier that will, it's a little bit tensile. It'll go into the cylinder head guard as with this get blocked. So you kind of have a two-fold engine guard set for when these crash bars basically get impaled and give out. I would highly recommend though that you get one of the crash bar extension mounts from Touratech or another company. What it does is it'll connect here, and it'll connect again back here. So you're actually getting another, so you can throw the bike straight on its side. The weight of the fall will get transferred in to the frame on this side and also into the frame on this side. So it has two levels of protection there. We have Harleys. Yes, this is kind of nice. So turbo black model, you're getting a dark cylinder head cover. Really cool. This is the Rally frame guards that I bought myself, so these do not come on the bike. And then also there's some covers here that I bought from Wild at Heart that cover some of the frame holes. With triple black, you're getting black all around here. Again, that glossy paint extends all the way back across the tank, which kind of sucks. And then you've got some cable management here for the LED headlights, and then behind here we've got a fan for pulling in all that hot air through the radiators. On this side here, I can't see it or not, but right here you're in this is road mode for the right brake. If you lift this guy up, you have much more responsive braking just because it's a little bit higher up. And once again, this right peg falls right in. You've got in the 2017 model a Euro 4 compliant muffler and whole exhaust system. It's just lower emissions. It sounds a little bit better than the 09 GSA, but honestly it's probably because of the extra power. 125 horsepower versus 99 on the 09. And a lot of that was, a lot of those improvements are just are based on that higher octane fuel, so this requires 89 versus 87 on the 09, but also because the liquid cooling allows for a little bit more aggressive compression ratio without any damage to the engine or the components. As you can see here, it's on the center stand, like normal kickstands on the left side of the bike. Nothing else is going on over here though. All pretty standard from there. Up top here, you access your coolant for this door here, the T25, which comes under the passenger seat screw, the torque screw, to get to the coolant. Up here, you've got to remove this to get to the air intake. Air intake is here on both sides, and then that's the air filters under here. All pretty easy to get to. For changing oil, you're going to remove this cap here to add oil, and the drain plug that's coming down below. I'll show you guys where the drain is. Alright, we're now under the bike. You can see here, this is the engine guard that comes with the GSA. It's pretty advised to get another one that covers the front of the cylinder head guards, right there. It comes up above where the alternator or the engine cover is, and then it comes back to the catalytic converter. That would be advised if you're going to be taking this off-road more seriously. But yeah, these are T30 screws. There are 5 of them holding the engine guard on. Once you do that, you're going to use a Torx, I think it was a T50 or T55, to get the drain plug out. And then if you buy the oil filter from BMW, it comes with a new washer, a new crushed washer for that. Alright, now that we've done a full walk around, let's talk about the features of this bike and what makes it so amazing from an overall design standpoint. Liquid cooling, like I said earlier, adds more power. It has more intelligent traction control and ABS versus the older models. Most that's thanks to the technological advancements from Bosch. You've got cornering ABS. You've got just amazingly responsive traction control. It's taking millions of calculations a second based on your land speed, gyroscopes, the lean angle. All this stuff is coming into fact. Also, the responsiveness of how the tires and throttle react to the surface of the ground. So on dirt, on tarmac, on gravel, and on rain, the tires are going to spin differently depending on the amount of throttle you're giving the computer, and because it's computer-controlled throttle, not directly controlled throttle. All these calculations are being done millions of times a second to decide how much intervention the bike should do to keep you safe. Really amazing stuff on this. The adjustable windscreen is nice, but honestly, if you're going to be touring long distances, it's nice to get a taller windscreen. Obviously, a cover for the headlight would be nice. The LEDs are a huge advantage over the old halogens. The LED auxiliary lamps are also a huge increase. The bright white light you get attracts more bugs, but you get a ton more visibility, and eyeballs of deers and environment are reflected, which is really great, more than ever before. You've got 2 really vulnerable radiators on the front, on each side, so worth covering those up if you can. And again, I already mentioned the skid plate would be a great thing to cover up. Redesigned crash bars are also really impressive here. They do a nice job of coloring the cylinder heads, but they do have a weakness, which is the lack of support towards the back of the crash bars. Something to consider if you want to. I personally am going to get cylinder head guards as well under the crash bars for me. Back to the technology here, so completely redesigned suspension. Not only do you have self-leveling, you don't have to adjust the damping anymore. As soon as someone gets on the bike, it's going to detect their weight and preload the suspension travel for their weight. You're also going to have all the riding modes dictating how much suspension travel to give you for either the most response or the most safety. So it's kind of a fine line there between the two. Gear Shift Assist Pro, the way it works is Shift Assist used to just be shifting up. Shift Assist Pro does up and down. This is from personal experience, but basically if you're heavy on the throttle and you're accelerating, Shift Assist Pro upshifting is fantastic and wonderful. If you're stagnant, you're not increasing RPMs or speed, then Shift Assist Pro up is pretty jarring. It's definitely not advised. You really need to be aggressively increasing in speed, like merging onto a highway, in order to take advantage of it. For downshifting, you have to fully release the throttle, and you can throttle down from you can shift down from 6th gear all the way to 1st gear with Shift Assist Pro, taking a 1 to 2 second break in between each shift, as long as the throttle is not active. So let's say 0%, it needs to be completely released. If there's any bit of throttle at all, you're basically hard shifting, which is going to destroy your clutch. And I learned this the hard way. It was roughly 100 miles of shifting incorrectly before I realized that letting the throttle out is important. And when you engage the shifter, bottom left over here, it's sending a command to the clutch to back off. It's cutting power to the engine, and then it's changing gear and then putting power back on. It happens within half a second, so it's really incredibly fast. If you're trying to race someone to 100 miles an hour, Shift Assist Pro is the only way you're going to get an edge on anyone else that's on a bike like this. It's, you know, if you were two GSA 1200s, one with Shift Assist Pro and one would not, or one manually shifting and one not, it's going to be a massive difference in who gets to the finish line first. Styling, much more aggressive. With a GSA, you got a larger fuel tank, 30 liters with a 350-mile range, but that also allows for a bit more coverage here on the front of where your knees sit, so you're getting less wind hitting you in the face or on the sides. That's really, really great. The handguards are mostly for show. They're just plastic. There's no reinforcement behind the handguards, so if you plan on hitting any trees, they're going to get destroyed. If you hit any trees with these, or if you fall onto the handguards, they're going to get destroyed. Rather than stripping out these screw mounts that are on the inside there, you can see them right here. I would recommend, if you plan on doing aggressive off-road riding, getting bark busters that have the aluminum backing behind the guard, and get reinforced guards for real serious off-roading. Up here you've got the GSA wind deflectors that come in. They mount to the top of the body. They do a pretty good job of deflecting the wind. I kind of wish this hardware here to the wind deflectors was more integrated as opposed to a black to white, two separate pieces. Kind of annoying, but it's a minor quirk. Mirrors are great. I'd only replace them if you broke them. Again, off-road, there's the double take mirrors for that if you'd like. Overall, the GSA is incredibly fast. It truly is an incredibly fast bike. Damn Harleys. Very responsive throttle. Tons of fun. Going through the ride modes is great. It only switches ride modes if you come to a stop or a very slow stop, slow roll. So if you're on road and you're going to switch to off-road, aka enduro, you have to come to a complete stop in order for it to switch gears. But you can change the ESA suspension hardness modes from hard, normal, and soft in real time, which changing from one person to luggage or two person also requires you coming to a complete stop, which honestly, your friend's got to get on the bike, so you might as well come to a complete stop for that to work. Yeah, the final drive is great. There's no chain, which is nice. No maintenance really, except for changing the final drive oil. For the most part, you'll get 60 to 100,000 miles out of that before you need to replace anything about the transmission. About the final drive shaft. The kickstand was changed a bit. So it used to be the kickstand, you access from back here. There's a little piece that sticks out right there. So you actually put your foot off the peg and onto here to push it down. Minor design change. It just makes it a little bit easier. It takes a little while to get used to. You can still kind of do the old-fashioned way and put your foot back here and put it down if you'd like to. Aside from overall features, that's probably going to cover it for the Triple Black. This was a 2016 and 2017 option. I don't think it's coming back for 2018. Triple Black is a $400 premium over the standard GS Adventure. Red being a $100 premium, black being $400, and there's a standard white color, which is the de facto standard, you know, whatever. I think 16 had an orangish red color. 2017 is more of straight red as far as the colors go. As you see, I have no luggage racks on the bike right now. Luggage racks do come on the GSA, except right now they don't if you buy one in 2017 towards the end of the year, because DOT is holding these back from the dealers being able to equip them. So it's coming without luggage racks. So if you're going to buy a GSA this year, a 2016, 2017, or 2018 model, whatever is new on the sales floor, the dealer is required to remove those racks from the bike before giving them to you. Giving the bike to you, because supposedly they cover up that rear deflector that's back here in the license plate area. That's pretty much it. Comes with the Noki 3 tires. Not my favorite, but they're great on-road. They're probably 90-10 tires as far as on-road, off-road. But I've driven this thing 150 miles off-road, as you can see from all the dirt. And frankly, the ESA, ABS, and the Bosch traction control in enduro mode basically make this bike brilliant off-road, even without knobbies. I was doing 50-55 miles an hour on back roads with no issues, taking corners at 15 miles an hour, just putting my left foot down on a left foot turn just like you would in dirt bike style. Enduro allows the rear to slide around, keeps me upright. Made me look like a freaking expert at this, even though I wasn't on knobby tires. So you buy a new GSA with all the Ride Modes Pro, you're going to have a great time, even without knobbies, but knobbies are going to open up this bike to insanely fast speeds. So let's wrap this video up actually with a walk around, just for a final video here. Again, gorgeous bike, aggressive styling, tons of aftermarket for it, a huge community of aftermarket parts makers for BMW. You've got aftermarket windscreens, headlights, auxiliary lights, radiator guards, engine guards, crash bars, tank bags. As you can see here, I've got my Evo, SW Motec Evo tank bag lock on the front there. You've got this great flip-up case here for anything that you want to keep handy. Oh, one thing I didn't mention is you've got on the brake and the clutch levers, you've got these adjustable settings here that enable you to set how much you actually want it to go in before you get a response. It's a nice little adjustable thing, which is pretty cool. You pull out and then you can adjust it, and it lets you have a long or short pull. So if you're off-roading and you want to do one finger holding of the levers, you can do that. You can see here on the bottom, this is the pass-through for the air that's being pulled through the radiator by the fans. So there it is, pretty much easy to see. The frame is now two pieces, so you can see, well, I've got it covered, but basically there's a connection there and a connection up there where you can remove the whole second rear of the frame there. It's great for doing service work, something you wouldn't have to do yourself, but if for really serious service work on the suspension, it saves a lot of man hours in the shop. Behind this cover here is the battery, comes straight out, and the fuses are going to be up top here. Spoke wheels are standard on the GSA. On the GS, they're an added feature. You've got front and rear Brembo brakes, and this famous cover that always gets torn off after a few years of off-road riding. Towards the rear, you've got the LED brake light. It has something called dynamic brake light. The way that works is, and I've tried this with my girlfriend behind me, and I've come to an abrupt stop, and she lets me know it works beautifully. Basically, when you are really hammering on it and ABS is to kick in, this brake light flashes and your flashers flash to let the person know in front of you that you're braking extremely fast, and they should also take notice. So it's a pretty cool feature, actually. Got the drive shaft here, pegs, and then transmission in the rear, the drive shaft in the rear, cylinder to the front. And that's pretty much it. So thanks so much everyone for watching this walk around, and I hope you enjoyed the overview of the 2017 GS Adventure Triple Black.